We're live, ladies and gentlemen. You're once again welcome to the Kingdom's podcast, and I have with me from the BKFC, Caeden Scott. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing just great. How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm all right. London, England. Summer is over. The weather is becoming gloomy. Talk to me about what the weather is like where you are.
That's awful, man. I hate the weather here. Can't stand it.
Whoa, that is. Are you in Canada or the US?
I'm in Canada.
Whoa, we're in Canada.
Yeah, Edmonton area.
Wow. I don't like cold, but I hear that Canada can be extremely cold.
Oh, yeah. Some people love it.
Whoa.
I don't know why. I just can't do it.
Then you should hate cold, then you should go to my country,
I
Nigeria.
could.
You
Yeah,
should go to my country, Nigeria. It's warm all year round.
yeah,
And
that's neat.
yeah, I think like whenever it's like kind of cold, it's like 18 degrees, 17 degrees, and people complaining. Then you look at like, this is
Yeah,
what people are praying for in Europe. 18 degrees? Come
yeah.
on, that's not cold.
A lot of us can at 18 degrees.
Turning out 18 degrees. Interesting. So basically, this podcast is about sharing the stories of extraordinary people and dissecting hot topics. And the very first question I like to ask people on the podcast is about their childhood. Like, what was childhood like for them, right? So putting it to you, like, what was your childhood like?
I'd say it was pretty good. I grew up in the country, did lots of, I have three brothers, so I
Whoa.
was always doing dirt biking, wrestling, all that fun stuff. Me and my brothers were always active together. Not a lot of we didn't do a whole lot of like video games and stuff like that. Parents kept us outside. So I was always big brothers, always competing. At I think I would have been 10. My youngest brother and my one older brother, we all got into boxing in the amateur leagues. Started at a UFC gym in Edmonton.
Interesting, the UFC. Like, I love the UFC so much, right? I love the UFC so much. And a lot of people that know me kind of identify me with the UFC, right? So, but then I see you were like a lot into boxing. You're Golden Gloves champion, right? Two times, right? But did you ever get into MMA?
No, no, I never got into
Whoa.
the jiu-jitsu grappling.
Why? Come on. After having that, opportunity to be the UFC chief, like,
Yeah,
yeah. But then, like, tell me about like how you got into fighting. Your childhood, three boys, definitely you guys, are into activities. But then, like, how did that pathway get you into?
honestly, my oldest brother started and like she was loving it, and coaches moved him like right to the fighters class from the beginners class in like the first week. And I was like, oh, I want to try that, right? So I got into the beginners class with my little brother, and Chad Lucanis was my coach. And it's crazy now because it started from him teaching me how to jab to him and I being sparring partners now. Kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I started mainly because my brother was doing it. I'm like, oh, my brother's doing it. I got to do it.
Was Big Brother influence, right?
Yeah,
So like, so when you were growing up, who were those people that you would say were your influences, like your inspirations growing up? Like, who were those people you looked up to?
like close to me or like celebrities.
Yeah, both ways, both close to you and, in the outer society.
Yeah. Uh, honestly, Coach Parvez has been like, he's always believed in me from the start. My older brother, I'd say had better power than me in boxing, and he was getting like first round knockouts and everything. And
Whoa.
he always told me like, your first 10 fights are gonna be the toughest, and then after that, your
It
fights are
becomes
gonna be
easier.
going. And I stuck with it, and I believed what he said. I think he had more faith in me than I did with boxing. So he had a
Oh,
huge part of my boxing career was because of him. He's always been there by my side, like encouraging me. And my first pro fight when I won, it was just, I wouldn't be there without him, right? So he's a big inspiration for me.
wow. So you got into the boxing because of him. And of course, I like the fact that he also provided that support system for you. So, like now, where you're at, right? Who are those guys who form the support system at this point?
Honestly, my friends and family at this point, my coaches and my both my moms, because my parents are divorced. Both my moms absolutely hated the BKFC. Like,
Whoa, like parents always, I don't know, they hate combat sports. Like
yeah,
my mom cannot stand watching in the MMA. She like, why these people hurting themselves? And then like she will sleep and wake up in the morning because I think Israel Adesanya,
yeah,
Easy.
yeah,
So Easy sort of made MMA more popular in Nigeria. Easy and Kamaru Usman. So because they're Nigerian boys, right? They will say, "Oh, let me know what the result is in the morning." They can't get to watch it.
yeah.
So like I get it. Like parents are honest. They don't like to see people hurt themselves, but it's not as bad as they probably
Yeah.
paint it.
Yeah. Even though they like neither of them want to watch it. My dads are all for it. They're like, yeah, let's do it. But
Let's do it. But it's
yeah,
the moms.
yeah. Both my moms, even though they like despise it and like they more of like worry about me getting hurt, right? They still always come out and support, which I love.
Oh wow, that is great. That is great because at some point they just discover, oh, we can't stop him for doing this. So if you can't stop him, then join him. If you can't stop them, join them. Yeah, interested. So like you are the boxing side of things, right?
That's it.
Hot topic. Boxing versus MMA, right? Boxing pay versus MMA. There's been a lot of controversy in recent time. People have been fighting for MMA guys, saying MMA guys are underpaid, right? What
Yeah.
what's your take? What's your take on the whole issue? Do you think like the payments, to the fighters in boxing is way better than MMA, or do you think MMA guys deserve to get better pay? What's your take on the whole debate? It's been ongoing in recent time.
Man, I do think that a lot of these boxers get a lot bigger paychecks than the MMA guys because, I mean, a lot of the boxing that we watch is like title fights, though, like big name.
Exactly.
So we go off of that, right? Like Ryan Garcia and the Tank there.
Tank Davies,
Yeah, we're looking
the
at
big
that and they're
names.
getting millions, right?
Mhm.
But like the smaller guys, like less popular, no,
They don't
I'd
really get
say
that much.
no. I'd say it's about my experience from what I know. I'd say it's about the same for like an MMA guy that's not as popular and a boxing guy that's not as popular. But I
Exactly.
definitely do think in like the higher like Tank Davis level and Conor McGregor level, I'd definitely say that the boxers are making a bit more than the UFC and MMA guys, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. But the UFC has this fighter pay categories, right? So people get angry when they see that the entry level fighters are probably earning, I think before they should earn like 10K to show and 10K to win. But I think they've
Yeah,
upped it to probably like something like 25K to show and maybe 25K to win or something, right? But people keep complaining that, that's very small, but they don't see the work that this, promotions puts, into organizing the events. They spend a lot of money. They have a PI, similar to what BKFC is doing right now. They're putting a lot of money into the logistics of organizing the event. So it's tough telling them to now like pay boxing kind of money, right?
yeah,
So we,
exactly.
we only get to see the main event guys, the top guys. But if you look at what the less popular guys are earning, I think it's even probably less than what the entry level MMA guys
Probably.
are earning. But like, why is that controversy out there right now? People like Jake Paul, right? Even
Yeah.
attacked Dana White about it. But like, what do you think is causing that controversy out there with the whole fighter pay, would I say, conversation? Because it's trending. It has trended on Twitter in recent time, right? And of
Yeah.
course, like a lot of celebrities are saying MMA guys should get paid better. I don't know what like really sparked that debate. If you have an idea.
I think a lot of it comes behind the people that are saying that don't know what's behind of just the fight, you know? Like the promotions, like to get the ring there, to get the cage set up, like all that. I feel like a lot of people that aren't in the game don't understand where a lot of the money goes to. Like
Oh,
there's things than just the fighters that got to be paid. And I got to learn that on one of my pro fights there, where like all of us got to pay and whatever, and we're like, we feel like it should be more for a pro fight, but then you got to take in, there's booze, ticket sales, tables, ring setup, like all that stuff, fighters to fly in. Like, I feel like there's a lot more just behind the fighters' pay,
yeah, there's a
And like,
lot of logistics, a lot of costs.
yeah, you have to have the promotion set up before you can have the fights go, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with you, right? But looking at your transition into, BKFC, right? BKFC basically packaged something that has been in existence for a long time because bare knuckle boxing, there's a long tradition. It's just that it wasn't like refined, and well packaged like traditional boxing. So way back into like the 19th, 20th century, we've had people competing, even 18th century, right? Tyson Fury, for example, is from a generation, fighters, and some of his ancestors were bare knuckle fighters.
Yeah.
Did you know about that? So, but now Binocle is now very well packaged, right? Even though a lot of people are finding it difficult, in quotes, to accept it because of how violent they think it is, but it's gaining more acceptance in everyday culture. How did you do that transition? You were into mainstream boxing, right? How did you decide to make that transition into bare knuckle, which is, boxing on steroids?
Pretty much.
How did that happen? Like, why did you stay and become the Tank Davis or the Ryan Garcia? Why did you come into bed?
I mean, at my gym, they had talked about like, oh, it's coming to Edmonton, right? And they had like tryouts at my gym. And I signed up to go and whatever, and I just thought like, oh, that'd be crazy. So me and my cousin just like, were like, yeah, let's sign up to do bare knuckle boxing tryouts, see where it goes. And then,
Whoa,
yeah,
adventure.
that morning I got called in for work, so I missed the tryouts. But a couple of guys from my gym passed through the tryouts and got their BKFC debut. And I watched it, and like I watched all the fights, and all of them went by like in 24 seconds, like just quick like that. And I think it was like a couple weeks after I go back to the gym, and my coach asked me, "What do you think about BKFC?" I'm like, I'm like, let's do it, let's try it.
Oh, let's go. And
So
that was
yeah, that was it. Found me an
that's
opponent, and I was like, oh, am I really doing this right now? Like, I remember I was sitting in the back room, and I'm like, I'm bare knuckle fighting some guy. Like, what? I, like,
it
it came to
feels
me like,
different.
yeah. I'm like, am I crazy or just what's going on here?
What's happening?
Yeah.
So
But
how did
no,
the first fight go?
it was awesome. Once I got in there, your adrenaline's rushing so much you don't feel anything, right? So I thought I'd be hurt after. I thought maybe like watching the first couple rounds before me, because I was the sixth fight, just knockout after knockout, and guys' faces gushing blood. But luckily,
Crazy.
luckily I didn't get too bad. I got a black eye. That's about it.
Whoa. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Looking at the the kind of injuries, I think it's just basically the visuals, right, for bare knuckle. But thinking about yourself, you are highly talented, two-time Golden Gloves champion. That's no joke, right? I think for me, Golden Gloves is the litmus test, right, at amateur level to see if a boxer has got potential to make it in the world of boxing. And
Absolutely.
you came through, that test, not once, but twice. Take me through that journey of, becoming a two-time Golden Gloves champion. Take us through the journey, like what went into it, like.
Um, my very first year competing in it, I had lost, It was in Calgary, and I remember telling myself, like, this is what I want to do, right? This is what I need to do. And I was so disappointed when I lost that, and I kind of like dedicated it. I was like, next year I'm winning bronze gloves, silver gloves, and golden gloves. Like, I need to. I didn't end up beating in bronze gloves just because of like it's a certain amount of fights and under. It's like I don't know, for guys that are like just getting their first amateur fights in, right? And then I competed at silver gloves. I won silver gloves, and then my golden gloves. There's only 3 of us in my weight category on the first one, so I only ended up having to fight once for that one, which was nice. Usually you fight like if it's a weekend, you'll fight like 3, 4 times, right? So for that one, I only had to fight once. I won gold 3 rounds, hands down. And then after that, same guy that I beat for the golden gloves, we did a rematch. I won TKO second round. And then I told myself, well, my coach and I agreed, like, as soon as I turn 18, let's go pro. So we did it again, won golden gloves. That time there was 4 in my weight category. So I fought twice, and I won both by unanimous decision. And then by the time I turned 18, I think I just got caught up busy with work and just, out of high school and whatever. So
Life happens.
yeah, exactly. It happened so fast. And then, yeah, I didn't end up going pro until just, say, 5, 6 months ago.
So how long did you have to delay? How old are you now?
I'm 19.
Whoa, and then it's just a year difference, right? And then you are already in the BKFC, like you are already showing signs of becoming a future champion, right? In the BKFC, highly, highly talented. Like you are what I don't know if you know, there's this Mexican guy in the UFC right now. I'm struggling to remember his name. This young boy. I'll remember his name later. Like that guy is in bantamweight. He's in bantamweight. He's a future champion. That guy, like he's so good that he's now on the main cards of pay-per-view events. Right. I'm just wondering why I cannot. Raul Rosas. This guy is very, very, very good. You should go check him out. So like
Yeah.
you're giving me that vibe, right?
Yeah.
Golden Gloves champion, undefeated in the BKFC, right? So you're on the pathway. You are on the pathway to excellence, right? So boxing, because typically would expect a person like you to go pro in boxing, but I understand like the Canada terrain, right, is a bit, would I say abundant with opportunities like what you have in boxing in the US. So probably if you were in the US, you probably wouldn't be doing the BKFC. You probably have gone into like mainstream boxing. But like,
Yeah.
what's up with Canada's boxing versus US's boxing? The opportunities, like, what do you think about the terrain in both countries?
I think it's a lot bigger in the States. Like, it's more watched, more talked about. I think there's a lot more opportunities. I think there's a lot more people doing it too than Canada. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Because, some people in certain weight classes, right, even struggle to find opponents in Canada. Yeah, and it's quite tough on the people because if you've got talents, right, in that talent pool that are elite level, that are global level, it's now difficult for them to showcase themselves. It even happens in MMA as well, right? Because you
yeah,
guys had GSP from Canada, right? But since GSP is retired, there's not been that major global
mhm.
superstar in MMA. But did you grow up watching GSP? Like, what was GSP like where you are from in Canada?
Little bit. Like, I mean, when I was like younger, I more of just boxed. I didn't really follow it a whole lot. But once I got a bit older, I started watching it more. So I wouldn't say I followed him through his career, but I definitely was a big fan. I thought he was one of the one of my more favorite fighters out of the UFC.
Oh, so if you were to say, if you were to pick your top five, all-time greats in the UFC, who are you going to pick?
Well, first gonna be Connor.
I thought the Canadian in you was going to pick GSP.
No, has Connor first.
Okay, let's go for a top 10 then, because now that you've put Connor into this equation,
Dude,
this
I know
equation is
Kevin.
not going to be balanced.
Second, probably. Are we talking like all time or right now?
Yeah, all time, all time.
Oh, sorry, you broke up there.
I'm talking all time, all time.
All time. Okay, well,
Yeah.
Connor's got to go first.
Okay, wow, you're the first person I've ever seen putting Connor first. That's interesting. That's
Really?
fantastic. Connor is gonna be proud of you. Yeah, he's achieved a lot, for the sport. And to be fair, Connor was the one that brought me to the sport. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, around when he fought Khabib. I think that was like around 2018, because I pretty much started watching MMA around 2018 and 19. Yeah. So Connor, who else?
GSP second.
Whoa, your brother, your uncle from your country is second. Okay, that's cool. So who will be at number three?
I'd say Sean Strickland.
Sean Strickland. Wow.
Yeah,
Now I'm angry with you because Sean Strickland beat my boy easy. Now I'll let you strap up and come fight with you.
I've been betting on Adesanya for his last couple of fights, and it hasn't turned up.
Oh, you've been losing money on Adesanya.
He's been up there, but now he's losing me money. I'm like, oh.
So who did you put your money on in the Strickland versus Adesanya fight?
Adesanya.
Whoa, no wonder. Yeah. Now that I see the bias.
Yeah.
I see the bias. So who is I think number one is Connor, number two is GSP, number three Sean Strickland, number four is who?
I have to go with either Cowboy or Paulo Costa.
Paulo Costa. Okay, let's just give them 4 and 5, right? Yeah, 4 and 5. Cowboy, Paulo Costa. Why Paulo Costa? I can understand Cowboy.
Costa and Strickland, they're both very much like, they aren't ground guys. They're very much like boxers, I guess you could say, and Costa's a little bit more of a wrestler, but I like that. Strickland's just straightforward, keeps it up top, just punching the whole time. He very much does a lot of boxing other than...
Yes, because he uses the Philly shell. Yeah, Philly shell roll, and it's quite awkward, but then it puts pressure on you all the time. So it's difficult to break free from that pressure because he's constantly in your face.
And he has a weird style, like really weird.
It's a weird style, but it did not work on Pereira.
Yeah.
It did not surely work on Pereira. Pereira is a different kind of beast.
Yeah.
And of course, okay, by the way, breaking news, Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, announces retirement today.
Really?
Yes. So, does he make your top 10?
I don't think so, no. I don't think so.
Why is Demetrius, why is Mighty Mouse so, why is he so underappreciated? Is it because he's a flyweight? What is it with flyweights? People don't tend to like flyweights. Why? Tell me. Is it because they're too small? Or what's the problem?
I think so. I think people like to watch the heavy shot.
No way. But that guy won, multiple world champions. World championship belts, right?
Yeah.
Come on. I think he's probably more than, maybe around 15 belts or something. Bro, that is not easy. Like, to keep on winning in championship fights. That is elite level. Bro, come on. Why? He should be appreciated. Well, anyways, it's not a bad thing. We all have our choices. He did not make your top 10 list. I'll go talk to him. I'll let him know that, some people don't appreciate him, but I appreciate him. So who would you put at your number 6?
Probably Max Holloway.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Former featherweight champion. He's one of the greatest, of all time at featherweight. It's unfortunate that, Volkanovski beat him multiple times, but in that
Yeah.
featherweight gold conversation, he puts Max Holloway right up there. Maybe Volk, Max, and it shows the Aldo. Yeah, I think they are pretty much like the greatest featherweights of all time. But what do you think about his performance at UFC 300, knocking out Justin Gaethje at lightweight?
Oh, that was an awesome fight, man. Me and my buddies were all watching that last round there when he pointed to the center of the stage
Center
there.
of the,
I
the
that
ring,
all
like, oh,
all
whoa.
my buddies just right hyped up, like right close to the TV. It was awesome.
To be honest, I feel like that was the people's main event.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty much the people's main event. And of course, the main event did deliver Pereira, knocking out Jamal Hill. But which was more impressive?
I feel like Pereira's was too quick.
Yes, too
The
quick.
the build up with Gaethje and Max there was
Yeah,
I don't
they gave us everything a fight should be,
yeah.
entertaining, close, matchup, fighting, coming back, two aggressors, at each other's necks, and of course, like till the very final second. The
Yeah.
the, the knockout was very late. It was, I think, a second till the
Second.
buzzer. Like, you can't script it. Hey, it makes for a great movie. Max Holloway, respect, respect, respect to him. Hopefully, I have him on the podcast one of these days. I
Right?
respect, I respect his body of work. I do respect his body of work. So, number 7.
I would have put this one way up, but probably John Jones.
Whoa, John Jones is my number 1, bro. Like, and of course, you see the way Dana White has been hyping him up a lot lately. Dana
Oh yeah.
White has been hyping it, saying, like, if you told Dana White that John Jones is not your number 1, I think he's gonna literally fight with you. Like,
Yeah, I'm not
and of
trying to be
course,
like Dana White out here.
Uncle Dana is gonna be angry. He's gonna fight you if you
Yeah.
say anything about John Jones. But really, respect to his body of work. I would put John Jones at number 1, to be honest, to be fair,
Yeah.
because the caliber of fighters, of champions and former champions that he beat. No. You just have
He's
to
on a
give it to him.
level.
Yeah, he went through murderer's row. He went through murderer's row. However, I feel like there were some close fights he had, like the Dominic Reyes fight and the first Alexander Gustafsson fight. But to be honest, when you go watch that Dominic Reyes fight again, I think Dominic Reyes won the first 3 rounds. When you think about it, you in your spare time, go watch that fight again. Dominic Reyes won the first 3 rounds, and John Jones, started coming back from the 4th round. But
That was Jones by split.
it wasn't even a split decision; it was a unanimous decision, and it was annoying. Like, what were the judges looking at? But we don't know what the judges are looking at, right?
Yeah.
It does happen. He had taken nothing away from his legacy. Respect to him. Number 8.
Number 8. I'd say Gaethje is up there too.
Wow, former interim champion, lightweight, Gaethje. No, Gaethje is the human highlights reel. Yeah, the human highlight reel. He doesn't have any boring fights. I think his motto should be kill or be killed. It's either he knocks you out or you get knocked out. I think he won the interim lightweight championship belt. Like, he's got a solid legacy. Great one, but he's taking time off right now to heal from the Max Holloway knockout.
Still, eh?
Yeah, he's taking a whole year out. You need to take time out if you come on. And of course, he's not a young man any longer. I think he's probably like around 35. Thereabouts, so age is not on the side again. So number 8 is Gaethje. Number 9,
Gotta go with Khabib.
another Dana White boy. Dana White is gonna be angry with you. Respect to him, 29-0.
Well, if
Even
Connor's my favorite, I gotta put Khabib way down there.
I see. Yeah, just to show Khabib that there are levels to this game, right? I see the Khabib hate. It's not hate really, but definitely if you love Conor, you won't
Yeah.
really, really like Khabib. But the thing is, hate him or like him, his legacy actually speaks for itself.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, his body of work is impressive as well. Because a lot of people were saying, oh, he was beating bombs, tomato cans early in his career, but he proved it over and over again that, a lot of guys were not on his level. And if, he beat Conor the way he did beat Conor, come on. Conor is one of the greatest of all time, and, he dominated him. He beat, who else he beat? He beat Poirier. Yeah, he did beat Poirier. And I think he beat Gaethje as well. Yeah, I was trying to be sure.
It's
But
submission.
yeah, yeah, he beat Gaethje, he beat Poirier, he submitted them. Submitted Poirier, Gaethje, Conor. Come on. He beat Al Quinta. Come on. Come on. Come on. But who do you think is better between Khabib and Islam? That's a tough one.
I'm gonna say Khabib.
Why?
He's just, I don't know, his ground performance is unreal. I don't
But
know. And recently, that's a hard one, man.
it's a hard one. But the thing is,
Yeah.
I don't like it the way a lot of people do not give Islam his flowers.
For me, it's just because recently he's just been on his off game.
Islam has beaten everybody put in front of
Yeah.
him. He's beaten Poirier, has beaten Alex Volkanovski twice, even though the first fight was quite close. I was one of the people who thought, Alex won the first fight. He proved it beyond reasonable doubt in the second one, right? And of course, who's he beaten again? He beat Dan Hooker, beat King Bobby Green. He well,
Pereira. Pereira.
which Pereira is that? I mean, Islam Makhachev. Like, yeah, he beats Dan Hooker. He beat who else? He beats he beat Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, and Oliveira. Yeah, Oliveira is who I was trying to remember. Beat Oliveira for the title. Come on, that guy
Pereira's also
is
a very good fighter.
extremely good, especially with the jiu-jitsu.
I'd say he's probably on my list too.
So that's your number 10.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Wow.
He's just very, I don't know, he kind of gives that like creepy, like he loves to hurt people, you know? Like none of these guys do it for the sport, right? I feel like he does it because he loves to hurt people.
But then, like, do you know Oliveira is the all-time submission, would I say, specialist in the UFC? He has the most submission wins in the UFC.
Oh yeah. No, I
Charles
didn't know.
Oliveira. Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know. That guy is a submission expert. Of course, he's a black belt jiu-jitsu. So
Yeah.
what do you expect? Well, his jiu-jitsu is on another level. Do not give him the opportunity to take it to the ground. If you give him, he will seize it. That guy is extremely dangerous. And yeah, in the earlier part of his career, especially when he was at featherweight, he was not very consistent. But when he moved
Yeah.
on to lightweight and he had his child, he went on a tear. So great guy, great guy. I agree with you. Like, if he's number 10 on your list, I think I agree with you. He's one of the greatest of all time. Wow, interesting. But in terms of boxing, you are a boxer. Who are the guys that would I say? Let's say your top 3 for boxing.
Top 3, man. I'm gonna have to go Floyd first.
50-0.
And probably Mike Tyson.
Tyson. Wow, legend.
And then probably Ali.
Ali. Yeah, I think Ali is right up there for me. Right up. He's at the top of the food chain. Nobody can tell me another thing. Well, I think at some point I will have to compile my list for boxing. I don't really have a list for boxing, but I think Muhammad Ali should be number 1. You talked about Mike Tyson. What do you think? Hot topic. What do you think of Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul?
Man, I hope he knocks him out.
Honestly, are you really going to watch that fight?
I don't know if I'm gonna pay for the pay-per-view, but I swear, like, I got the Jake's last fight against Mike there, and I actually thought that the bare knuckle champion was going to knock Jake right out. But it was embarrassing, man. Like, watching that, like, this YouTuber kid outboxed him like crazy. Like, I was so disappointed.
So you think that Jake Paul is a really good boxer?
I think he knows how to box, man. At first I thought, oh, it has to be just all played prop, you know, he's paying the bills to look good. But I don't know, some of the things I've seen are just like, you can't fake that.
He's going through a lot of training. At first, people were
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, he's just beating up old MMA guys because he beat Tyron Woodley. I think he beat Anderson Silva as well, right? Boxing, but these are MMA guys. There's this other guy that was a wrestler, the one Gamebred Masvidal beat. I can't remember his name. The guy with the curly hair. He beat that guy hands down as well. Like, okay, and then he decided to fight a boxer.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's only lost his Tommy Fury.
Yeah. Didn't he
Yeah.
fight that Nate Diaz too?
Yes, he fought Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is another old MMA guy. Come on. Like, why would you be fighting Nate Diaz, right? Fight a proper boxer, fight a proper, and not the old boys. Come on, fight Caeden Scott. Let's see.
Yeah, hey? Absolutely.
Let's see what's up. You should tweet at him and like, hey, Jake, are you up for a challenge? Like, why is
Then,
that? He doesn't want to fight the younger ones, but fighting the older ones. Why?
yeah. I've been calling out that, that Bryce Hall kid.
Bryce Hawk. Is he also one of the influencers?
Yeah, he's like a TikTok influencer, I think.
TikTok, whoa. And then he's not into boxing.
Yeah, he did a bare knuckle fight, I think a couple months ago against that Jeet the Cutman and BKFC. He beat him, I think, second round due to, I think, elbow injury or something.
No way.
But I called him out on Snapchat, like Snapchat story, and he responded and he said that he'll fight me in end of the year. And I was like, okay, so now I've been calling him out on Instagram, on TikTok and all that. I want to fight one of these influencers, man.
Whoa, but really, that it's quite a hot topic, right? You know, influencer boxing. A lot of people are irritated by it, like would I say the nerds of combat sports, right? The casuals are fine, but the real students of the game are really, really irritated. Some casuals are like, okay, this is fun. I was watching something on TikTok earlier today, and there was this girl from Nigeria that was calling out Adesanya, and then she was like, oh, whatever you are, whether you're a boxer or something, I'm like, what? A lot of people are not even educated to know the difference between boxing, MMA, bare knuckle, wrestling. I
Yeah,
watch MMA a lot. Some people come to my house and say, oh, you're watching wrestling. I'm like, what? What are you saying? The public are quite, ignorant when it comes to combat sports. They just
yeah.
think everything is wrestling or everything is boxing. They don't even. So, for you to be a TikToker, a YouTuber, and then you are now transitioning into boxing. Boxing is a martial art, the sweet science.
Yeah.
There are people like yourself that have dedicated the early parts of their lives, right, mastering this sport. And then you come from nowhere and say, oh, you can fight, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
What is your take on the influences, moving into boxing? Or like, what do you think about the whole thing generally?
I think it just became like a trend, I guess. Like they even had that, like, had a whole show where it was like influencer boxing. That's just kind of like,
Is it a
oh
TikTok
my
versus YouTube
God.
guy?
Yeah. Like they had a whole, like, I don't know where it was, but it was like all these influencers fighting each other. And like, I'm just like, none of you know how to box. Like they're just doing it because like that's what's big and happening right now, right? Everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon whenever it's the thing.
Well, many thanks to Jake Paul, KSI, and co. Like, I think they were the ones that like
Yeah.
were the front runners, like the pioneers of this whole movement. But for me, don't think I can really accept the movement. Like, it's not my thing.
Yeah. I think it's really like cringy, but at the same time they're bringing boxing out, I guess you could say. They're having boxing kind of a bigger topic right now because of them. Even though I don't support, like, they aren't fighters, they haven't, like, they got money and got good trainers and learned how to box in 4 months. Like, I'm not going to support that, but at the same time, they're getting these big cards out and everyone's seeing boxing up and coming. So it is getting, like, boxing out there, but I don't know.
I see what you're saying. In a way, it is, creating that awareness for boxing, right? Even though they're not doing the proper way, or it is what it is, a win is a win. And so I think at some point, would I say, like, looking like 10 years ago, even up to like 5 years ago, it felt like boxing was becoming a dying sport until the influence of the Saudi Arabia sheikh who started investing in boxing. Pretty much like the best were running away from the best, and people were just selecting fights to go for, and it wasn't even making sense again. And I think it's one of the things that made people gravitate towards the UFC, because the UFC was on point in terms of creating competitive fights. And I think it also opened doors for the BKFC as well, right? People that love boxing want to see the best fight the best, and of course that is what the BKFC is offering. So I feel like the decline in traditional boxing sort of helped MMA and bare knuckle boxing to have an upward trajectory, because people want competitive entertainment. Basically, that's what people want. So we have the likes of, okay, Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou. Now he's into boxing. I think I was at the press conference, when they came to London. I saw the Sheikh, met Francis Ngannou, his coach. I
That's
met
awesome.
AJ. I met AJ in person. AJ is big. That guy is massive. Bro, I am 6 foot tall, but I think those guys are like 6'4", 6'5". They look like
Yeah,
giants. They're real like, what? Giant
that's
of
awesome.
human beings. And interestingly, AJ is fighting Dubois, right? Yeah, who do you think is winning that fight? September 21.
That's soon, eh?
Yeah. And
Holy,
by the way, I'm going to be at the fight.
are you? That's
Yes, I got my ticket already. There are quite interesting fights in London this September. Bellator are having the Champions Series. I think Johnny Eblen, and what's this guy? Edwards, Fabian Edwards. That's Leon Edwards' younger brother. Is fighting for the middleweight title of the world. So
okay.
yeah, they're doing it in London, and I'm going to be there too. So September to remember the combat sports world. But who are you siding with? Anthony Joshua or Dana Dubois?
Anthony.
All the way. And of course, Anthony's a Nigerian
Yeah,
boy, so I have to support my brother. But when
yeah.
it comes to you, like what would you say has been like your toughest challenge, in terms of being in combat sports? And what would you say are the achievements that you would I say appreciate the most? So this is challenges versus achievements. So let's start with the bad news, challenges. So what are the challenges? What are the toughest challenges you think you've actually faced so far in your career?
Oh, man. Probably. I work. I work out of town for work. So these my my first pro fight, and this fight, getting ready and staying motivated for my fights and training every day. Like, I'd work 14-hour days and then coming back to camp and, like, I don't want to run 5K. Like,
It's
staying
tough.
consistent without having
Consistency.
there. Yeah.
Whoa, it's tough.
Without having a coach there to be like, get on it, right? So I'd say one of my bigger challenges recently is not having my team to train with, hey? Like, I
Uh,
had to pretty much do it all by myself, my last two fights. And my pro fight was in, Ryan Ford. Yeah,
Ryan
you've had a,
Ford. Yeah,
yeah,
I've had him on the podcast.
he
Ryan,
started,
the
uh,
real deal.
he started his own league, and it's boxing with bare knuckle rules, but with 4-ounce MMA gloves. Yeah,
Wait a moment. Explain it again. Boxing with what?
it's boxing with 4-ounce MMA
That's
gloves.
that. That's MMA gloves.
Yeah, and then
Whoa.
you have rules
What rules? Boxing rules?
like you can like push off the clinch, hold behind the head. Same rules as BKFC. And then the rounds are the same too, like 2 minutes,
Whoa.
5 minutes.
Whoa, that's mad. Just like Francis Ngannou's coach, Dewey Cooper. He's got his own promotion now, Team Combat League.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of Team Combat League as
No.
well. I think that's in the US. That's in the US. So Ryan Ford is pushing in Canada.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
Oh
Wow,
yeah.
it's like bare knuckle, without the intent.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my first time fighting in like lighter gloves than 12 ounce. So it was fun. I knocked my opponent out 4th round.
It will be easier to knock people out.
Oh yeah. Just like you're so much quicker with those small gloves.
Yeah, with the smaller gloves. Come
Yeah.
on, the impact is a lot. Yeah, it's basically maybe like, milder version of bare knuckle because yeah, the padding on the glove is not as much. Wow, interesting. So people like bring in a lot of like innovations into,
Oh
combat
yeah.
sports and trying to create something new, right? You have things that are familiar, right? But try to create something new with similar rules and get something more exciting. I think I'll look into that. I'll try to watch it. I'll hit him up because I think I dropped him a message earlier today asking him if he's coming to London for the AJ fight because he's fought in London before. Fought Joshua is it Boatsy in London. Yeah, and not that's not even too far from me, the Auto Arena. Just I would have gone, but I wasn't speaking with him at the time. So, but if I knew he was coming to London, come on, I'll go show some support. Wow, interesting. So, challenges done, but the accomplishments, the things you've achieved that you think you're proud of in the sport, like what are those?
Say one of my biggest accomplishments was my pro fight, man.
Oh,
Just to get there was everything, right?
going pro is the goal,
Yeah.
right? And of course, you forgot to the golden gloves. Like, okay, that's in the past. That's in the rear
Yeah.
view. Yeah, like going pro, like you guys want to make the real money.
Oh yeah.
I see. Did you ever think of going to the Olympics at any point?
Yeah. I went to nationals and then COVID happened. And so like
Whoa.
it ruined that whole thing for me because they wanted me to get vaccinated and I wasn't going to get vaccinated. So I couldn't fight. And then it came a point where I had to do like the rapid test in the nose and have like sheets for every day. So that we went to, I think it was Grand Prairie. And yeah, I had to have like a whole bunch of rapid tests just so that I could fight. Like it just really like messed up the whole I think that would have been like one of my things that I would have wanted to do, like aim for the Olympics, because that would have been awesome. Like
Oh, that would have been great. Like
yeah,
having that Olympic gold medal is always, a nice thing. But, there are people who achieve great things without that Olympic medal as well.
and for a reason, right?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, everybody's pathway is different. That's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing, You don't have to be like other people. But I'd say losing things in life helps to build character. But for you, you have lost some fights. Like, how do you stay motivated after losing, and how do you like bring yourself back and regain your self-confidence after a loss?
After I lose a fight, I often will go and rewatch it,
Uh,
kind of pick up on things that I wasn't doing and pick up on things that I was doing that were incorrect. So far, the fights that I've lost have been like unanimous decision and like close fights. So far I haven't been like I got totally dominated or anything like that. So far I'm like I've yet to be like, what was I doing? What did I do wrong? Like there's always things that you can improve on and do, but so far with my like throughout my amateur career, I don't think there was a fight that I completely lost. Like I think all my fights are very close, the ones that I have lost. And it's actually funny, I have 4 losses. One of them was that the Golden Gloves that I was telling you about, and the
huh.
other 3 are against my buddy Ethan. He fights out of Alliance in Edmonton. And I think we first fought when we were like, it would have been like 11 years old.
Whoa, long way coming.
So after that, we kind of like became friends, and we were like seeing each other at like these school parties and everything. We became really close, and then we fought again. He won by unanimous decision again. And then we
Again.
fought, yeah, and then we fought Diamond Belt, and I won that one, but they gave it to him.
Oh, that was a bit painful.
He,
You know, I feel like this guy has my number.
oh yeah, it even sucked because my buddy Ethan was like, "You won that fight," and I'm like, "I know, man." And he's like, "Oh, it is what it is, right?" But it was kind of cool. It was a big diamond belt that said Diamond Belt Champion on it. It was pretty cool, but did it? And like, I felt like I dominated in that fight, and they gave it to him.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't understand what the judges in boxing look out for. To be honest, I don't. I really can't tell because the way they score doesn't make sense to me personally. But who am I? My opinion probably does not count in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah,
But I think I should try to maybe talk to some boxing judges to even like understand what exactly it is, maybe understand things from the perspective. But I think boxing is quite a corrupt sport, right?
oh yeah,
I think it's crazy. Even Brian Ford, when he was on here, he was talking about how he doesn't like to leave things to the hands of the judges because
yeah,
so some people are usually preferred, and no matter like what you put in, the work you put in that ring, they probably have in their heads who they want to award the fight to, right? Which is not encouraging. You don't get to really see that kind of thing in MMA. There are poor judges in MMA, but I think majority of MMA fights actually are scored correctly.
oh
Unlike
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
unlike what you have like what you have in boxing. But what would you say basically is like the future, your future in the next 5 years, and the future of the BKFC as an organization as well? It's the fastest growing sports organization in the world. So what do you see for yourself and the BKFC next 5 years?
I want a contract in BKFC, man. I want that contract. I would
Uh,
with it. I want to do it all though. I want to do some boxing fights. I want to learn jiu-jitsu and get into MMA. Maybe get on the contender series that Dana got going on. That would
Whoa,
be.
so you want to go back to MMA?
I would love to try doing MMA.
Why?
I don't know, man. It's everything, right?
Yeah, it's a
It's
mix
all.
of everything.
Oh yeah,
but but I think it's quite difficult, especially because of the fact that you need to train jiu-jitsu, you need to train wrestling, and now mix it all up. But if you're somebody who's like mastered just one of the sports, right, it's sort of easier for you focusing on that sport. But you never know how good you can possibly be if you don't try,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
Yeah,
let's see. So we might possibly see you on the contender series.
right. That would be awesome.
Whoa, and of course, make a claim with a massive knockout.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be interesting to see. That'll be good to see you. Like, I wish you the very best on that. So, like, for you as a person, like, what would you say are your hobbies?
Do a lot of dirt biking, like that kind of stuff. Big into cars.
Wow, you
I,
you like you like you like outdoor activity.
oh yeah. I used to have a Mustang. I used to go to the drag track all the time, drag race my car. Big into
Oh,
car. Yeah.
oh, you're a car lover, car freak.
I like all the dangerous stuff. Bare knuckle fighting, drag racing.
Now that's interesting. That's interesting. Like towards the end of the podcast, I usually ask, people a question from a previous guest, and then you leave a question for the next guest. I think the one from the previous guest I can remember right now is what changed your life doing what you love to do? Yeah. What changed your life doing what you love to do? I think it's someone in the BKFC that asked that question. Let me ask you, what would you say changed your life doing what you love to
Uh, really changed like doing boxing and fighting and all that stuff. Changed my discipline, I guess you can say. Made me
do?
I used to like be a real, like, I guess you could say hothead when it came to fighting, like, not in boxing, like people wanting to fight me. And now because of it, I have a lot more discipline. Like someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're that guy that boxes." I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, I could totally beat you in a fight." I'm like, "Yeah, you probably could, man. Don't want to try it. You're good, man." Like I got nothing to prove now, right? I'm like, I know
Exactly.
I don't gotta prove it to
You don't
someone.
have to prove it. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Definitely
I
built
like.
that discipline to not need to fight for no reason, right?
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
I do it because I love it, not because I need to do it, right?
I like that. I like that. That's a good one. So, what question would you like to leave for the next guest?
What's their biggest setback when it comes to combat sport?
Oh, what's the biggest setback when it comes? Okay, I think the next guest may be a fighter, but if they're not a fighter, I think what I'll just ask them is what's the biggest setback that they've experienced.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I think that is going to be it. So, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to before you leave?
Shout out to Wolf House Edmonton, my gym, and say that's about it.
Hey.
Call out Bryce Hall, right? Yeah, if you're seeing my man's podcast, sign a contract.
Well, Caden, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for your time. I really, really appreciate you, my man. And of course, I wish you the very, very best. You know, you have a really, really bright future ahead. And of course, by God's grace, you would achieve it.
Awesome.